Welcome everybody to another episode of Don Talk. I'm super excited about this episode. Once again, I got my buddy Don Dar'Ron on here with us. Also got a guest, RC. I'm super excited about this topic. We're here to talk about code switching. And code switching is like survival, identity, and authenticity. Like we've been living this life, so we're gonna talk about this, how it affects us, if it does affect us in any way, shape, or form. How do we navigate these waters, and how we talk and who we talk around. And we're going to dive into the origins of it too. So we're just going to dive into it. We always start off with, how you doing? We'll start off with the guest. Brother RC, how you doing today?
Well,
Truthfully and honestly, how you doing?
I will say this, but before I say how I'm doing, I would just like to extend a heartfelt thank you for allowing me to occupy the space with you all today. Brother Michael, Brother Dar'Ron, I really appreciate the opportunity to be here with you all. So, having said that, I feel great. And I say I feel great in a space that, is it perfect? No. But am I blessed? Yes. So therefore, I look forward to spending time with you all, and we can get down into the nuances of what it means to deal with code switching, and I'm sure we're going to have a wonderful time together. So thank you.
No, I appreciate that. But I'm gonna call you out and tell you and say that's a PC answer.
Oh, okay. Well, so
You
you want
gave
me to
us a
try it
P
again?
answer. Like when I'm gonna say, so you asked me how I'm doing. And this is the problem. This is what we're trying to get beyond the normal PC-ness, right? Because we
Hmm.
we we talk about everything that's going on, but we never really address what's really going on to really let it out and have people help you get through it.
Okay.
And not saying you got
So
to
you
do
want
that
me to
right
try it?
now.
You want me to try it again?
So ask me how I'm doing.
Okay. Uh, Brother Don Talk, Brother Michael, how are you doing?
Well, I'm alive and kicking. I can honestly say the past past 2 days have been great, and I'll tell you why. But I'll back it up. The past few weeks have been tough. Um, just with everything that's going on in life, which we try to bring up in these episodes. Work, work is um, I got an unexpected performance review that wasn't up to the level that I was expecting, and that kind of crushed
Mm,
me. So out of all the things I've done, you only saying I'm only valued at this, and that hurt. So I've been dealing and struggling with that. But then I actually been listening to this Jay Shetty podcast where he's saying there's 7 things you got to do in the morning before, to make sure your day goes off great. And I tried this for the past 2 days. And the main thing is not picking up your phone and diving right into your phone, but
mm,
not really giving affirmations. But he talks about 7 things that you're supposed to do to set your mind right for the day. And I've tried that the past 2 days, including today being the second one. And it's been an amazing transformation. Just the first hour and a half that you're up, don't touch my phone. Go through these 7 steps, these 7 phases. I do my journaling, I do my reading, and I exercise. And all this without touching social media, doing anything like that. And it's been a game changer. The hard part for me is going to be staying consistent with that, because he talks about how when you wake up and you start remembering yesterday's problems, yesterday's issues, and that starts to already clog your mind with bogging you down for how you're going to um, approach today. And then you start worrying about this, you start worrying about that. Then all these worries and doubts and fears start coming in because you open yourself up to that instead of doing a regimented routine to make sure your mind is set to approach the day correctly. So I'll send that to
okay.
you, dope one. But yeah, it's been a whirlwind of emotion the past few weeks, and the past 2 days I've been feeling good because of added routine that I put into my morning.
You, y- okay, so if we
So
can,
there, that was
then
a real,
okay,
real.
so so do I get another try at this? If I
so
could I get
we'll
another try at this?
so we'll keep all this in because we gonna show So we're
No,
gonna
I
start
got you.
off.
If I could get another try at this, though, this would be wonderful for me. I mean, this would be
Okay.
a resuscitative breath of fresh air for me. Right.
So all right. Welcome aboard, RC. How you doing today, brother? I want to know how you're doing for real.
You know, brother, thank you for asking. Um, for me, now that you really have me in my bag now, right? Um, it is beautifully tough.
Mhm.
It is beautifully tough because you never could have told me that I would be a full-time father half the time as a divorcee,
Mhm.
with a beautiful 13-year-old thespian who is just outstanding, and a 9-year-old who is trying to make sense out of life based on what he understands the expectations on him to be while living his full journey. And so my kids' lives do not mimic what mine was. My kids have everything at their fingertips that they could ever hope for. Whereas I understand, coming from where was, I thought that my grandparents were broke, not realizing that they had it all
Mm.
because they weren't worried about the capitalistic way of doing things as much as they were actually concentrating on what they possessed. And so for me, as a person who is in my head most of the day,
Mm.
um, I have to really juggle, and it takes energy to juggle not making my head the prison that I never asked for, understanding that it doesn't have to be a jail at all, while still trying to be palatable enough to achieve while not losing my soul. And that is a constant struggle each day. So, having said all of that, I feel blessed to be here. I'm blessed to be here with you and our brother Duran, while understanding that James Baldwin phrase, and I paraphrase now, that to be a black person in America is understanding what it means to constantly live in a state of rage. And I will now add my own piece to it, while maintaining the ability to have that rage undetected.
Mm.
Right. And so I think that's a good segue into some of the things we want to speak of today. So I appreciate you.
No, that's a perfect segue onto the topic at hand. So we're gonna get there, but we're gonna check in and make sure Deron is okay. You good, man?
Huh?
You good?
Oh, things happen, man, but you gotta adjust. You gotta adjust. That's all that is. It's adjusting. But
Okay.
I'm okay.
All right. All right.
Apologize for the tech difficulty. As you can see, I switched places in my home.
We see that. I see it. So we just talked about how we doing. You missed a lot, but we'll cut this little segment out. But how you doing today, Deron? Everything good? What's going
I'm
on with
good.
you,
This is a
man?
cold switch right now. I mean, real talk. We missed a lot, man. What's going on with you? This supposed to be real talk, man. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Um, yeah. So you missed it. You missed it. RC gave me the PC. I'm doing great. I'm blessed. I'm highly favored, and blah blah blah. And I said, "Come on, man. This is not what we're here for. Tell us what's really going on."
Oh,
And then he broke it
hopefully he told
down.
you what
So
really. He seemed like somebody who could tell you
yeah.
what's really going on when he ain't on, when he's not on camera. I believe it.
My brother, my brother, I broke it down like a fraction and divided by the least common
Oh, okay,
denominator.
okay.
Okay. All right. So how you doing, Deron? What's going on, man? How's your day? How's your week been?
You know what? Like I said, before, man, I'm in transition right now, right?
Mhm.
Mom just relocated back to California. I'm still launching off my books and talking to different organizations. Man, I'm trying to reorganize, my office because my mom took my office as a guest room. Like we moved her into that. So now my office is in disarray. So I'm in transition now,
Okay.
and in
Transition
mental health, we
phase.
would call it an adjustment disorder. right?
Mhm.
Anytime something a major change in your life, whether it's a death, well, that can go into bereavement, but you can also be adjusting too, whether it's a new job, a new spouse, new relationship, it takes time. And I think most of us
Yeah.
know I didn't really hear what you had to say as far as, moving to a different state. But I mean, for those who move to a different state, it's a lot of transitions, right? So that's where I'm at right now. I'm in transition and I'm trying to adjust to this new way of life, where my mom is gone, but I still have my mother-in-law here, kind of to help out as well. So just getting used to a whole lot of things. How am I doing? My mind is racing right now, right?
Mhm.
And I'm trying to slow down as I'm speaking to y'all brothers, right? But sometimes, regardless of what happens, we got to keep going, right? And that's the
Yeah.
scary thing about what we as men go through. Nobody care what you feeling like, man. Right? You don't care what I'm feeling like. You still want me on here, or I still want to be on here, but it's still my responsibility to be on here. You know what I mean?
I do care. That's why we asking and having this
Well, you know what
real
I mean?
open honesty of
Pretty
how
much,
you
yeah, we
doing. I
do
mean,
care, but we still have to do what we have to do. And I'm gonna tell it
yeah,
before we go.
you're right. Regardless of how you
Look,
felt, I want you on this
look, right,
podcast. You're right
right.
about
But
that.
today, my daughter, right? She's in theater. She's a great student, straight A student, honor student, right? She
Hmm.
was feeling some type of way last night into this morning, and she said, "I have to go to school." I said, "Girl, if you don't sit your butt down and stay home, right? Because she will keep keep going until her mental health is damaged. It's something, and that's a lot. That's
Mhm.
what we do. We keep going, keep going. Next thing you know, what? We mad and we don't even know why. We have an attitude and we don't even know why. Right? So we have to be
Uh,
sure to take care of ourselves before we can take care of anybody else, man.
yeah.
I
I
had to
hear you.
say that.
I hear
My
you.
man, I had to say that.
No, you're good. You're good. You gotta take care of yourself. And I think from the very first podcast that we did, you've been teaching me to take care of myself and move on and grow from things. So hey, I hear you with that.
Yeah, man.
I just, if I may, man, I'm smiling because this brother has given a master class on what it means to be human
Hmm.
in the introduction. And I don't know about you all in the way that you all grew up. Nobody cared about your mental health when I was a
Right.
kid.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They cared about you being able to survive and grow and
Hmm.
thrive and take care of yourself. And if you had to die trying, so be it. So the
Yeah.
fact that you said that, I appreciate that.
Hey, that's what we're here for. All right. Cool. I'm glad we're here. We making it and managing one way best know we have the best way we know how. With that said, all right, so what is everybody drinking on? Duran, start off. What you drinking
Bull
on?
of bourbon. Like this is the
There we go.
rye. Bull of bourbon.
Okay. Awesome, awesome. Okay. What about you, RC? What you sipping on?
Okay, well, I must admit that I'm sipping on blasphemy right now because
Mm.
I'm not watching my glycemic index at all. It is Coca-Cola accompanied by, matter of fact, where's the Aberfeldy 12 year,
Oh, okay.
which you are not supposed to add Coca-Cola to that at all. However,
Yeah.
I felt a hint of sweetness in me tonight. So therefore, I shall not, we listen, but we will not judge, brother.
I'm
Listen, but
I'm gonna
we're
ask, is
not
this brother
judging.
a pastor of some sort? It is spare time?
Hey,
Eh,
Don, just hold on. Just hold on to your
'Cause
to the
I'm
chair.
I'm
Just
I'm
hold on to
feeling
the chair. We
I'm
gonna get
feeling
there.
something right now.
We gonna
We
get
have
there.
all been
We gonna get there.
called to minister in our lives, my good brother.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
All
That I
right.
agree with.
I'm on some tequila tonight. So some Verdadero. I don't know how you pronounce this, but this stuff is good. It's a um it's a reposado. It was
Ooh.
recommended to me by the shop owner. I said I need to try new tequila. So yeah, I tried enough of it. It's all gone.
Well, no, baby, brother, that is drinking. That's not trying.
Alright, so so now we in the mood. Alright. So, code switching. Okay. We're gonna talk about a little bit about the origin, but here, let's start off by asking the question or us answering the question, when was the first time that you realized that you had to or you were changing how you spoke to fit in or be accepted?
Mm. Is that for me
Yeah,
or is that
let the
for
guests go.
Mr.
You know,
Anderson over
yes,
here?
sir. RC, let's see what you got.
You know what? I will lean in fully to being a guest tonight. Thank you, my dear brothers.
Mhm,
I think for me, um, I think it was third grade, and we had to do a botany assignment in third grade, and I mispronounced something.
mhm,
Um, because in the flower pot that I used, it was something that is a PEAT space MOSS. And when I got to class, I said, you use some soil and you use some pit moss. And the class burst out laughing because it's important for you to understand this. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana at this point, and my school was outside of Shreveport, Louisiana, in a rural area called Belcher. And my school that I was bused to for 45 minutes was predominantly white. And so I think that we can all agree that when you have the capital that whiteness provides, you have a better understanding and command of the English language that I did not have. And I was actually saying what I remember hearing, right?
mhm.
And that was the first time that I realized, based on the reaction of the class, that I was not in alignment with what the norm was.
Mm.
And I asked, well, how did you all say it? And they told me peat moss. And then I tried my best to overpronounce everything that I was trying to deliver at that point while not trying to be on the margins of my social group at that time.
So, what was the predominant ethnicity during that time? You remember 3rd grade?
Well, at that school, it was a
Mhm,
magnet school that you had to be accepted into it at first anyway,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
You know, and it was overwhelmingly white. And at that point, I didn't realize it, but even being rural white was better than being any kind of black in that school,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
And that was the beginning of the times where I understood that I was not like the others. But it was also before the time where I could honestly say that I didn't care, because you're still trying to fit in as a youth, not understanding that you are marginalized at that point.
Mm. Okay. I like that, I like that.
I
Okay.
would, uh,
Deron, what you got, Deron?
man. You know what? So I went to Sherman Oaks at first, right? You know, Sherman Oaks in the Valley in high school. Then I went to Crenshaw. It was like black and white, like, or as you
Mhm.
know, how the differences between. But I never really remembered code switching. I just remember being myself always got me into trouble, right? No matter where I was. Um, I realized it's like being myself. Like, man, people don't want you to be yourself. They want you to be somebody else, right? But it really didn't hit me until I got to Purdue. Like, when my, wife, you know, you was there, you know, she was in her PhD program, and first time I was around, like, researchers,
Yeah.
you're right? All all these researchers, right? I didn't know what the heck they were talking about, right? But I know they
Mm.
didn't talk about real life. I know they was just only talk about research, 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 and I found myself trying to not necessarily, you know, not trying to I just trying to understand, you know, what was going on and trying to, you know, I'm not gonna fake that, you know, pretend that I know what they're talking about. I don't. But even trying to understand what they were talking about was hard, right? Like, it's just like the wording they were using. It's for those who were in research, they know what I'm talking about, right? And anytime I try to do it, you can kind of see it on their faces. I don't care if he was black, white, Mexican, it don't matter. Researchers, right? And I just felt like this big, man. I felt this
Mm,
big because I knew that they can see that I didn't know what I was talking about. Even
Mhm.
when
mm,
asking questions, right? Because you can listen to people, but sometimes you don't even know what questions to ask. That's how difficult it was
Yeah.
for me to understand.
mhm.
So, me trying to code switch never really worked for me, man, and that's why I'm in
Mhm.
and and that's why I never really made it to, like, corporate America because I knew I would probably be gone within a month because I can't do that facade for too long.
Yeah. And that's a good point. Remind us to get back on of doing it to what effect it has on you when you try to do it for too long. We're gonna talk
Okay,
about that later
okay.
on. Because RC knows what happens when I try to do it too long. So we'll get into that story too.
Please do.
um, so
Please
but
do.
my earliest remembrance is not actually a time frame, but it's actually an origin of where we are first taught to code switch is your
Mm,
parents. You know, regardless of where you at, where they take you, once they take you outside the house, don't act the fool, don't be cutting up. And they introduce you to their friends, you gotta sit there and be like, "Oh, yes, I have the best parents in the world. No, 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 they don't beat me. No, You know, like
Family business stays in the house. All family business house,
you know,
right?
so going and then them introduce you, them take you outside, you go to the store, you was always told to act a certain way to fit in or not be cast out socially. And then you take that and now you go to church. It's the same thing. You're taught to act and be a certain way to be accepted in those environments. So it goes back to as early as we can remember that I feel we were being bred to code switch without us even knowing that was a term at that point in time. What you think about that?
I never looked at that as code switching. I just looked at it as don't act the fool, you know? Um, yeah, I never really thought about it like that, but you do make a point. Um, yeah, now I gotta go back and talk to my parents because you met Paulette. She actually taught us all
Yeah.
that, how to
Mhm.
speak, how to, where the fork goes, when you're eating, what fork to take on with. But never that, man. That's interesting.
well, with that, brother, I have a confession to make. To actually display palatability, I've been code switching this whole time on the front end.
All right, I'm ready for this.
So
I
now that
don't
we
know.
done with all that, baby, let's get into how the cow bite the cabbage. You understand what I'm saying? Man, let me tell you something. When it come down to the way our parents do things, man, what's the number one job of a parent? To keep your baby
Safe.
safe,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
right? And so our parents, whether they knew it or not, they didn't even want us to be ostracized in no way, right? What's the rules? When we get in this place, you ain't hungry. Don't you ask for nothing. Don't you touch nothing. You ain't getting nothing. You're going to say, yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
sir. No, sir. You're going to do all of these things, even in places where you're supposed to be yourself,
Mhm.
right? You couldn't even whisper in church without getting pinched under the arm. you know, and why is that? Because they wanted us to be safe, bro. Right? We've been code switching all our lives because they wanted us to be safe. They did think about it, man, a lot of the things. And brother Don talking now. We talked about this a little bit. We had the code switch, man, and the safety of a lot of our ancestors because we didn't want to be sold. Think about it.
Mhm.
Can you imagine, bro, anything worse than being a slave that stands out? Think about this,
Yeah.
right? Think about it. You ask somebody, man, who is not a part of the slave experience, right? So, how's your son or daughter doing? Oh, they are great. They are number one in their class, or they are just absolutely outstanding. As a matter of fact, they have a 4.0 GPA, and you can do that when you don't have that kind of experience behind you. Now, imagine somebody like, so how's your son, Pearl? Right? Imagine Pearl being like, you know what? My son can jump 48 inches. You know, or my son, like, he been out here working all day. He ain't even tired. You got somebody on the side like, he working jump 48. He ain't
Uh-huh.
tired. You know what I'm saying? And that's a dollar value to that. So what did our parents do? Girl, how your son doing? Girl, he all right. We was
Yeah.
always all right? Unless it was in a safe space somewhere where they realized that there was no danger present. So that's part
Yeah.
of our experience.
So my question is, just
So
to
that's a
add
good.
to that, well, I mean, it's a quick question. What are they, what was our parents trying to protect us from? Right? You said safety, right? Like, cause now I'm thinking about it. Like, what were they trying to protect us from? What was it going to hurt us? It wasn't. It was more. I think they didn't want us to embarrass them.
Well, that's true. You know what, brother? That's a whole lot of truth to that because you try to prove something to your parents, at least where I'm from. I can't speak for y'all,
I'm
but
listening.
somebody can ask a question and I would jump up. Hey, mom, I know that. You know what? The first thing my mama would tell me, bro, and it was the funniest. It's funny now. It wasn't funny then. You know what? You think you know everything. Huh? I stopped by somebody's school. It's like, the hell you mean you stopped by somebody's school? We all went to school the same number of years. Of course you stopped by the damn place. But I think there's a whole lot of truth to that. But it's an interesting dichotomy, man, as far as I'm concerned, because you want your kids to be the best they can be, but you also don't want your kids to feel as though that they are better than you. That's a hell of a jail to be in, you know?
Mm, yeah.
So
I
just a
think, and
thought.
that's a jail, like jail. So you talked about it being a safety mechanism, right?
Hmm.
Is even from back to slavery, you had to code switch to make sure you was safe and protected as best as you could during that time, and that
Best you
still
could.
carries us through today. Question is the quote that I found was, "We often navigate two worlds, one where we belong and one where we must prove we do." And we talked about safety being one mechanism and why we code switch. Is are we constantly trying to prove that we belong? Is that the other reason why we code switch?
Okay, so I don't know the answer to this question, but I at least owe you a fair attempt since you asked it, right?
Mhm,
I don't even know if it's us trying to prove we belong. I mean, for me, early in my life, I was trying to prove like I belong in spaces, but those were colonized spaces. So it's two spaces that I would say at least colonized space, uncolonized space. In the colonized space, there might have been some times that I was trying to prove that I belong. But for me, that was based on monetization.
mhm,
I really didn't care to be a part of anybody's social group. I didn't want to be in a position where somebody would tell me what I can't do to block my money because they don't think I fit,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? In the uncolonized space, you ain't got to prove nothing. That's just where you are. That's your people. That's who you are. I mean, you don't think I'm telling the truth? Watch this right here. Watch how you eat chicken when you at work compared to how you eat chicken at your crib. Oh, I'm lying? I'm
No, you're not
lying?
lying.
At work,
You're
man,
not
you would
lying.
sit there, man, to try to use a fork and knife for a wing. you know, at the house, maybe have grease coming down your arm, this, that, and the third,
Man.
all this here,
Right.
this, that,
Right.
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 And you doing that for the reason of you don't want to be ostracized to get your money blocked,
Hmm.
Mhm,
right?
Hmm.
That's the real underlying currency of racism. Somebody can keep you from being the best you can in a colonized space if they don't think you deserve to be there.
Exactly.
mm,
Exactly.
Right? When you at the crib and you at the hood, you ain't got to worry about none of that kind of stuff. We all got the same thing anyway. The whole world sees it the same way
Except
anyway. We
if
don't
you have
care.
neighbors a certain way.
You know what? You got a point, but guess what? We had to get to the point where we had to bring ourselves up to another level to even get that. If you go back to where we was born and raised at, man, nobody care who you was, man. Think about how we describe
Mm,
people. Be like, hey, but you know, Antoine, you know, with the I, you know what I'm saying? We would always pick the the
Yeah.
the, the lowest common
Oh, yeah,
denominator,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you know, Sam with the club foot. Everybody knew who Sam with the club foot was, you know.
oh,
But when you think about it, it took us trying to get to this perceived level of what it meant to make it. And then once we get there, then we got to put ourselves in a space where we can maintain that,
That's where it,
which turns into a jail all
yeah.
itself.
Oh,
mhm.
Mm,
So what I hear that you're saying or tried to say, or what I interpreted, however you want to put it,
mhm.
because we're in a colonized space, is in order for this outside of our comfortable habitat, in order to succeed in that colonized space, we have to, not saying we have to, if we want to maximize the potential in that space, is it necessary to code switch or is it not? I guess, I mean, I don't know.
man, you know, I'm not even answering that question that you just asked, but I'm just so I want you to think that that's what I'm about to do. But I try my best, because we've been code switching for so long. Man, if you had a job, you code switch. Right? If
Yeah.
you had a job, if you was working for someone else, you code switch. Right?
That
Um,
part.
but honestly, man, my goals are to make sure people have to code switch around me. Be
Mm,
yourself. It's hard to be yourself when you need to be yourself. Hell, sometimes you don't even know how to be yourself because we've been code switching too long. Now it's
mm.
something wrong with
Yeah.
you.
Do you get
Okay,
lost in
so
that? And lost in
okay,
that, who are you? Are you the person that you are at work, or are you the person you are at home?
I got a response to that, brother. I got a response to that, right? And my response is this: you code switch when you are not independently wealthy.
Mm,
Anybody we know who is independently wealthy, to Brother Duran's point, people code switch around them because they know that they don't need them for anything. They know that they're actually trying to glean something from them. But you know what the great equalizer was for me when it came down to code switching and choosing not
What's
to?
that?
Kids.
mm.
Because kids are for me, my kids were the greatest judges of calling out cap before cap was a word. I ain't heard cap for the first time until about 2 years ago, right?
Mhm.
But man, I got a 13 and a 9, and I consciously stop code switching when they're around. I don't care if I'm talking to the president of a corporation or a university, or if I'm talking to a janitor. I don't care. My kids, anytime they're around, they're gonna say, "Dad is the same dad," right? Because they will embarrass me in public. If they heard me code switch and start trying to, like, put the extra oomph on my R's, or, putting G's on the end of my words, or this and the third, my kids will shoot me, especially the baby boy. He ain't got no filter. He be like, "Man, daddy tripping." you know,
How old's your oldest
and
boy?
because
How old is he?
no, I got a boy and a girl. My girl is 13,
Okay.
right? My son, because I got my two kids, my son is 9.
Got you. Okay.
But when I tell you, and Mike knows him, the
Mhm.
most honest little boy, he doesn't know how to lie. So if you want him to lie on your behalf, do yourself a favor and do not ask him any question. He has no context clues. He has no social cues, no nothing. Whatever you ask him, it's the real deal, right?
Yeah.
And so he's the kind of dude that he may not say anything in a public space if he were to see me do it, but as soon as we get home, he's gonna be like, "Hey, Dad, can I ask you a question?" "What's up, man?" Um, remember when we were at so and so place earlier? Yeah. Okay, so what was that? What was that about, man? Because that's not how we operate. That's not who you are. That's not how you speak. What happened to make you do X, Y, and Z? And so, because I don't want to have that kind of conversation, I just keep it funky.
Mhm.
So that's a great segue to a story that I just been trying to find the right time to tell the story. So I know how your son feels because me and RC used to work at the same place, right?
Mm,
So when he first started, the person he was replacing was like, you got to meet the guys replacing me, Dr. Holmes, blah blah blah. He's a great guy, blah blah. Just laid out his resume. I'm like, oh, like let me get myself together. Like, I got to be ready for this. So we meet at this place that's around the corner, like literally around the corner from work for lunch. And I meet him and he just like, oh, what up, brother? Like, dap up. And he just like, he in a comfortable space, right? And I'm just sitting here like, as he's talking,
Confused.
I'm like confused because I'm thinking of the resume that his colleague just told me that this guy is. I'm sitting like, I'm lost. But the brother was cool. He was himself from day one. And I don't know, this was what, summertime or right before
right before fall.
right before fall. So since that day, we've hung out multiple times before actually saw him in a work setting. So now, let's say we hung out 4 times before the actual work
Mhm.
setting. So we go to a meeting that I know that he's in, and now I'm like, okay, I don't know what's about to happen. So we sit in the meeting, and this guy starts talking, and it's none of that slang. It's none of that. It's just like, well, I think we should look at the dynamics of, and just I'm sitting here. Who is this guy?
What's it? What's
I
the
mean,
difference
there's a reason why he's on this episode because he is the best code switcher I've ever seen in my entire life. And y'all heard it from the way he started off in this conversation to now how he started to loosen up and
So what's
talking
the
now.
difference between
Can I
code
ask a
switching and
question?
being professional, right? Is it a thin line? Because I mean, I believe in being professional when we need to be professional, but it doesn't. Are
Hmm.
we? Are we comparing code switching and professionalism? Like, what's the difference?
See, bro, that's a good question, right? And so check this out. What is not professional about us? Everybody on this thing right now, bro. I'm looking at 3 blocks on this screen. We are professional as the day is long. So if I say, how are you doing today? Or if I'm like, why black? Or if I'm like, what'd you say there,
Mhm,
boy? I'm still the same
mhm,
guy in my core. And okay, so watch this. I want y'all to really take yourself back to the last 1 year old you met and you interacted with. Matter of fact, let's go 10-month-old, right?
Uh,
That 10-month-old cannot really speak in complete sentences yet,
mhm.
right? But when you walk up on that 10-month-old and you say, hey, how you doing? What's the first thing the 10-month-old is going to
You're
do?
gonna smile.
Well, no, it ain't the first thing. Think about this. The first thing the 10-month-old is going to do is going to look you dead in your face. And within 2 seconds, is going to put you in the friend category,
Mm,
foe category, fake category,
uh,
real category, all of that. And once they make that determination, then it's going to be a smile, then it's going to be a cry, then it's going to be something. Because that 10-month-old, without any of them fancy books, without any of this fancy coaching, knows how to look into your soul rather than listening to what you say.
uh,
Think about that. All of us have been around kids. Everybody on this thing got kids as far as I'm concerned, right? That kid is going to differentiate on
I
that.
would.
Us, though, we have been put in positions as professionals that we have to try to trust what somebody tells us because we're not around them long enough to realize exactly who they are and what their motivations are. And we don't expect them to be real because we've been so inundated with politics so much that we expect everybody to be fake until proven otherwise.
Mm,
I have a
dang.
4-year-old. I'm wondering what she would think about you guys. Like, what would be her reaction if both of these gentlemen said hello to her? And if I asked her, which one is the nice guy? Or what type of, asking like certain type of questions based on your hello. And that's it.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know because I tell you what, there's a variable in the room that I think needs to be accounted for because I position you to be an upstanding father, and the bias is already in because she wouldn't expect you to be around no fakeness.
That's true too.
So because she wouldn't expect you to be
Yeah.
around any fakeness, anybody you introduce her to and say, hey, what do you think about these guys? She's already gonna be like, well, these guys must be cool because daddy wouldn't put me with nobody who was foul.
Mm, yeah.
Nah, her.
This is not her. Not her. She like, I know who my dad is.
Like, and look, I mean, you have a daughter. Both you guys, have daughters. So, yeah, we talked about it last time. We want to protect them from certain people. So, me, bringing my daughter here and asking her, it kind of lets me know, am I on the right track? Or do I have to
Mm.
teach her? Do I could, bring her around more men so she can feel comfortable in talking to them? And should I trust this gentleman or, because Gabby come over here, she gonna look at you, she gonna smile. And I'll ask her which one is nice, and I'm wondering which one would she say is the nice person? Would you say both you guys?
Bring her here right now. Ask her. Ask her.
Gabrielle,
Everybody know that fat folks jolly, so I'm gonna win this one, man.
come here. Come here, young, beautiful, princess lady. This
I
is
love
Gabrielle.
this. I love this.
Hey,
Hey, Gabrielle, how
Gabrielle.
are
How
you,
you
sweetheart? How are
doing?
you, sweetie?
So I wanna ask you
That's good,
something,
Good.
sweetheart.
all right? Which one is the nice person?
This one and this
Can you
Okay, can I
no,
ask a can I ask a
yes, ask
question?
her a question.
Okay, sweetie, I want you to be
She
honest.
she
Can you be
pointed to
honest
both of
for
you,
me?
by the way.
I know,
I
but can I
heard
can
it.
I ask you a question, sweetheart? Would Daddy ever put you in the company of anybody who wasn't nice like this?
He
He
would.
would.
Would I bring you around mean people?
yes,
Huh?
yes,
I would.
yes.
Well, at least we know she's honest.
You ain't kidding. Thank you very much, sweetheart. You passed that test. I mean that.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
You
You
have a nice
too.
evening too,
What's you
sweetie.
guys' name?
My name is Michael.
And I'm Ryan, but my close friends call me RC, of which I have close friends on the camera
What
right
is
now.
that behind you?
Oh, you want to see my picture? This is a painting that is oil on canvas that is really near and dear to me. And so I thought it would be a good idea to put it on the screen today. Do you like it? Thank you very much. That means a lot to me to hear you say that,
Have a
okay?
good day. I appreciate you.
All
Thank you.
right.
Look at
I know it's me. I know I see you. Love you, girl.
There you go.
One thing I
That's
do
a
teach my
sweetheart.
kids is even if it makes me look bad, be honest.
Yeah.
You know what, brother? And you are doing a
Thank you.
wonderful
I
job.
appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
Mhm.
I appreciate it.
Okay. So, one thing that I heard, professionalism is subjective, right? Correct? Because you said, are we being professional or are we code switching? That's subjective. And as RC really
Kind
said, like, because we could be, our mindset of professionalism is knowledge based, not how I talk in the
I'm gonna
words in my
disagree with you,
vernacular.
bro.
Yeah, I
I'm gonna
disagree with
disagree
you as
with you.
well.
I'm gonna be blunt. Since you brought me on here and I can say what I'm gonna
Yes.
say, and I know this
Yes.
probably gonna be kept in perpetuity. Professionalism is anything that is seen as the best version of Eurocentrism.
Mm.
That's what professionalism is. The whiter it
Okay.
looks, the better it is.
Mm.
Yeah.
The more
Ooh, you get that.
Africanized anything
Ooh.
looks. Come on, man. We said we in
Nah,
here, right?
that
We
was
in
a
here. We in
I
here.
like that. That's
The more Africanized something is, or the more indigenous something is, the less refined, quote unquote, whatever refined is something is, the less professional it
can we say
is.
the more cultured it is, the less professional it is?
Well, it all depends. See, now that's when we get into subjectivism right there, man, because when we say cultured, a lot of people will say the museum is the most cultured place that you can go. But any museum I've ever gone to in the colonized space has had all of the most
Right.
stolen artifacts you can
Yeah.
think of in
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah.
And so that way, okay, is it the person who stole the cultured items that is the most cultured, or is it the people that created them that is the most cultured? So those are the kind of questions that I ask myself. Right. And so for me, it's like anything, and I'm gonna go back to what I said before, anything that is the most Eurocentric in its most refined and esteemed state is considered to be the most professional until you got money. Because 50 Cent and Jay-Z and Beyonce with the hot sauce in her purse, right?
Swag.
George Lopez, who came out, I think he came out of y'all spot over there in
Yeah.
California
He
back
Cali
in the
boy.
day. They
Mm-hmm.
can show up anywhere they want to as independently wealthy people, and everything is wiped off the table for the simple fact they can define what professionalism is to them based on notoriety.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you got somebody who came off of Crenshaw or the Cooper Road or XYZ who espouse the same thing that they espouse, and it is not widely known that they're independently wealthy, even if they are, then it's when we start putting the ghetto, hood, monikers or whatnot that go along with that until people figure out what they were. It's like J. Cole going into that Ferrari or Porsche store he went into and dude telling him he can't afford to buy it until he realized he was J. Cole.
Right.
So perception is reality, even if it ain't.
So is bringing everything that we talked about so far, is your success determined on your ability to be able to code switch? If so, from what I interpret, that we're saying, what I interpret so far, success is determined on the colonized version of the colonized environment in which we're in and try to be successful in, until you get to a level of notoriety where you don't have to code switch. Instead, people code switch around you to get what they want from
When you
you.
say success, are you talking about professional success or life success?
Mm-hmm.
Because
That's a good
professional, yeah,
question.
That's
I would think professional, but life,
mhm.
no. I think outs
So break that down in the difference between what is considered professional success and what's considered
well,
personal
when I think of
success.
professional success, I think of work. I think of, what we do to earn, earn that income or earn that paycheck that most of us work for,
Mhm.
right? So anytime I say, like, when I hear professional, I think about job. That's what I think
Yeah.
about, right? And when I think about just your life, I don't think it's about code switching. I just think it's about if people like you or not, who you are.
Okay. Can I respond?
Absolutely.
Because,
Yeah.
no, the reason I'm asking, bro, I'm always big on airtime. I'm a talker. My brother can tell you that, but I also believe, and hopefully he can agree with this too. I like to shut up to allow things to breathe and for other people to talk because none of us masters the total understanding of the world. We all got something to contribute, but you said something that triggered
Mhm.
me, right? In a good way, right? When it comes down to success, we get to define that But the world in our capitalistic society defines it on how much bread you
Mhm.
got.
Mhm.
When you think about the people who are the richest people that we know of right now in this iteration of life, those are the people who cause the most destruction to not just nature, but also to our societies. But people will give them the pass because of how much bread they got. Why? Because people like, I could probably do business with them at some point. So I'm going to give them a
Right.
pass,
Right.
right? Bro, you know
Mhm.
what success was for me? And this is not to be overly
I want to
dramatic, and I
hear
promise
this.
I'm gonna make this quick. Man, I come from Cooper Road, Shreveport, Louisiana, bro. A lot of the dudes that came out of where I come from, man, if you made it past 18 years old, bro, you were told that you playing with house money now, bro.
Mm.
I got my first assault rifle pulled on me in front of my house and I was 10 years old,
What the hell?
right? Because there used to be a space in Shreveport, Louisiana, like a group that was called the 22 Gang. When Colors came out around 88, and when the Rolling 60 Crips and the Five Deuce Hoover Crips and everybody started coming out of LA, because a lot of people don't understand, Tukey came out of Shreveport before he got to LA.
Mm, I
Mm.
know that.
Mhm.
Don't take my word for it. Go look this up. Tukey came out of Shreveport. That fella born and raised in Shreveport, Louisiana. Right? Went out there to LA, and then that's when you saw seeing them gangs come out of LA, come back to Shreveport and Little Rock and all these other places like that in order to make their bread. So we saw overnight the 22 gang almost be eradicated, and my neighborhood became a Rolling 60 Crib neighborhood. But
Mm.
when you 10 years old, you don't think nothing about walking out the house with some red jogging pants
Oh
on.
man.
And that's what I walked out the house with.
Yeah.
And so I'm next door at my neighbor house, Tchaikovsky and Cortez and they brothers and sisters. And I see this dude come over the top of this car with this rifle, like, hey man, what's up with that red light? And I froze because I knew he talking to me. But I'm sitting here like, red light? I don't got no red light.
Yeah.
Right? Because you a
Right.
baby.
Right.
You're a baby. And he goes, asks me this question like 2, 3 more times. And finally the driver's like, hey man, that's a baby, man. He don't know what you're talking about. That man cussed me out, man, like I was a grown man. And cause he was on the passenger side, but he was sitting on the door frame with the window down so he could actually see over the top of the
Mm-hmm.
car. Man, he called me all kind of stuff, got back in the car and they sped off. Right. I got friends that never made it out of high school because they were dead.
Mm.
I used to tell my grad school roommate that I'm scared that I might not make it to 40. She was like, you guaranteed to make it past 40. I'm like, no, I'm not. Right.
Mm.
So think about this, bro. The same fella who was wondering if he'd make it past college age. I got 4 degrees now, a bachelor, 2 masters, and a doctorate. Right. I'm upper level in higher education. I'm a past National Association president. You know, that's unheard of where I'm from. So for me, just being alive still is success.
Yeah.
To somebody else, having a million might be success. To somebody else, being a billionaire might be success. For me, success for me, and this is why I shut up, is being alive, having kids when I didn't know I was gonna be able to have kids, having degrees when I wasn't guaranteed to have degrees, and having people look me in my face and say, your kids are some of the most well-mannered kids that I've ever seen. And not knowing that in the back of my head, I'm sitting there thinking that I don't want my kids to be the most well-mannered. I want my kids to be warriors for a
Mm-hmm.
time such as right now and not be the ones who are going with the flow because the flow goes against everything their ancestors ever hoped for.
Right. Right. Right.
Mm.
I yield
I
time
know,
back
man.
to
You just,
y'all,
you
bro.
just,
I had to say that though.
you know
Dang.
what? You couldn't hold that cold switch. You thugged out for like 3 seconds. I seen it. You couldn't hide that one.
Hey
You went back
man,
home just for a little bit, right?
as we were saying Philadelphia, bro, I had to release that joint, you heard me?
So here's the next, I guess the next phase is because I heard interpret one thing you said is like, can you code switch to a point to where you lose yourself?
Mm.
because I had a similar instance with that. I'm from Inglewood, California, got a full track scholarship to Purdue University. So now I can't be the Inglewood. Like we talk about, we grew up on the good side of Inglewood. So whenever we say, "Oh, we grew up on the mean streets of Inglewood," people that know us will laugh because it's like,
It was
no, y'all
nice over
didn't.
there.
So we joke about the mean streets of Inglewood, but we experienced it, but didn't live in the mean streets. But the Inglewood could not survive in West Lafayette, Indiana. The Inglewood could not survive in West Lafayette, Indiana. So over time, I had to adapt to survive at a PWI, predominantly white institution, to get an education, keep my scholarship, the whole nine, to the point where you told a story that here's my story. I forgot what Inglewood was like. So during my
Mm.
track career, I met a girl that was also went to Washington. So so now I met her doing a track circuit, but then at home over the summer, I'm going down to link up with her in all blue, not realizing what area she lives in. So I'm walking, had to park a few doors down from her place. I'm walking like not a care in the world because I've been in this PWI space, code switching, thinking that this is relative. And I'm like, doo doo doo, just walking all blue, shorts, blue t-shirt, blue Nike canvas shoes. Car pulls up to me like, hey, like, where you from? I'm just like, oh, and like, it didn't hit me until that point that I looked at I said, oh shit. And like, so like, literally like, oh man, like, literally, I'm like on 10 trying to stay calm to be
Yeah.
like, oh man, I don't bang. Like I'm literally just like coming from school, trying to see a friend. I'm sorry, man. Like I'm literally backpedaling the whole nine because I've been in this environment where I had to code switch to be accepted for so long that when I went back to my natural habitat, I forgot about what happens in a natural habitat because I've been in this environment code switching for so long.
Yeah, man.
Man, check this out, bro. Sometimes it's good for the coward to point to where that brave man once stood, you
Man,
heard?
y'all Southern saying, man. What's up, man?
Thanks everybody for listening in and joining in on that podcast. We had such a great time talking about this topic that we extended it for 2 episodes. So we're going to cut this off right here, right now. Tune in next week where we drop the second half of this episode. Like and subscribe here on YouTube if you like what we're doing so we keep this going. Appreciate you.